Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the hopeful elect of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians. Gotta give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. The Most High, the Heavenly Father, his Hebrew name is Yahweh. Not Yahweh, not Jehovah, not God, not Elohim, not Mosai, not Lord, not Yah, not Jah, not Ahaya, not Allah, not Abba. It's Yahweh. And his only begotten son name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shai. Not Yahshua, not Yeshua, not Jesus Christos, not Jesus Christ, not Serapis Christos, not Yeshaya, not Yehoshua. It's Yahweh Shai. So gotta give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekah, Korash. Double honors to the apostles and elder bishops and elders of great millstone who rule well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders over all of Israel, whether you accept it or not. And a sincere salutation to all the audience, pushing the truth and believing in the truth with the full ends of the earth, the entire world, shedding light to the hopeful elect. Shalom to the Aqua who are listening and learning. You few sisters who are listening and learning. Coming to another lesson, truth, fact, faith, and edification. Another day of edification, Lord, which we got to find. So I titled this lesson, The Lord is wounding them, and they are talking about it, which I got to retitle it, The Lord has wounded them, and they are talking about it. Esau, even so-called white man, is talking about how the Lord has wounded them. Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, has wounded them, and they are talking about it. So, Lord willing, this lesson be edifying. So check this out. And I always talk about, I used to do lessons all the time when this guy Peter Schiff, and he's one of them, one of these economists. So as the article yesterday, the lesson I did yesterday, when the Edomites talking about how Russia and China is not going to prosper, and them separating from the petrodollar. Well, these economists that's in America, Babylon the Great, have better to say dealing with the petrodollar crashing. So check this out. Well, let me turn this volume down. Let's get into a little bit of this. Lord willing, it's be edifying.
Joining us now to discuss this further, a guy I trust and gives us the truth. Chief Economist.
Salakia.
Joining us now to discuss this further, a guy I trust and gives us the truth. Chief Economist, Global Strategist, the founder of Schiff Gold, our pal, Peter Schiff, back on the program.
He said, a guy I trust. A guy I trust. What? Chief Economist. Huh? You heard it? Hold on.
Peter, how about it? Joining us now to discuss this.
This ain't just no anybody right here we're dealing with. Edomite that's in the know, man.
Joining us now to discuss this further, a guy I trust and gives us the truth. Chief Economist, Global Strategist, the founder of Schiff Gold, our pal, Peter Schiff, back on the program. Peter, how about it? I don't see anything good of the BRICS nations coming together and strategizing, as they say, to pretty much take over the world and screw over the West, which is us. Yeah. I'm a little concerned. Well, shouldn't we be worried?
Oh, we should be. And first of all, they supply us with a lot of goods, but they also have loaned us a lot of money. And the interest that we have to pay on that debt is soaring. You know, Treasury bond yields today hit the highest level in 16 years. We've got a 32.7 trillion national debt that is becoming much more expensive to finance. And, you know, this backup in the yield on the 30-year Treasury, mortgage rates are going to hit 8% pretty soon. So think about that for a minute, because when was the last time anybody was looking at an 8% mortgage? Just a year ago, they were in the threes.
I know.
So everybody is going to be paying more.
Yeah, and you know what's it's sick. So you know, I'm almost 50. You're probably in your 50s. So folks 50 and over remember the late 70s, early 80s of double-digit interest rates on homes, right? 12 to 18%. We haven't seen those and remain pretty fair and decent, right? Over the last 15 years until now. 8%?
Well, yeah. Yeah, well, the highest since 2007, so before
There we go, right
the
before the
financial
pop.
crisis.
Okay.
And so mortgage rates are going to be higher than they were before the real estate bubble popped, but they're headed a lot higher. We are broke as a nation, and the inflation genie is out of the bottle. You know, more than 10 years of reckless money printing. There's no way these rate hikes are going to do anything about that. So high inflation is here to stay, and it's going to get even higher. And so how Joe Biden can talk about a strong economy when we're the world's biggest debtor nation, we have record trade deficits, record budget deficits, and inflation that's about to run out of control. I don't think the economy has ever been this weak.
Wow. Whew, just a plethora of positive information from our pal Peter Schiff today. Can I go back to BRICS? Because to me, this is scary. As I said in the lead up to you, I don't think this would have happened because the war between Russia and Ukraine really sparked this. I know that the nations were already speaking, but because of that war and because of UN nations and the West cutting off Russia and other nations, I think that's pushed them into that corner. Am I wrong in saying that?
No, you're right. The blowback from those sanctions is going to be a disaster. Yes, I don't think that Trump would have been dumb enough to have made that mistake. You know, the United States really depends on the dollar as the reserve currency. But what we did with those sanctions, we gave the world a powerful reason not to want to be a part of that system anymore, because we demonstrated the downside, the risk that you take in holding dollars and being part of this dollar payment system. So we, it gave everybody another reason, as if they needed more, to de-dollarize. And so that whole process has been sped up. The last thing we should have done was punish Russia for doing exactly what we wanted them to do. We wanted Russia to hold dollars because that benefits us. That keeps our prices down, that keeps our interest rates down. And then we punished Russia for doing exactly what we wanted them to do. Now, what kind of message are we sending to the rest of the world?
Right. And again, by not pushing for peace, we have allowed Russia to cozy up to China, which is our number one adversary, not Russia, unlike the left and the media try to lie to us and make us believe. And so now, militarily, they've got a bond, but even bigger and more troubling is the economic war that could be waged against us in the future by these BRICS nations. That's what I'm worried about. We got to get Biden out of there. We've got to get some sort of control over this. Obviously, stop the runaway spending, but start talking peace and get this war over with so we can try to make up with Russia so they don't run and do this with BRICS.
Yeah. And they're bragging. They're bragging about the war. I mean, there never should have been a war. You brag things in for a world war. I mean, who wants to risk that? Over what? Over Ukrainian? This is nonsense.
I know.
Hey, this is about prophecy. It had nothing to do with you Edomites. This is about prophecy, man. Revelation 9 and 12, one woe is past, and the second woe cometh. Revelation 11:14, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh, man. It's prophecy. This is beautiful, man.
This war should have ended before it started.
Yeah,
they should have
never heard that guy right
not
there.
Let it go off.
Well, and Peter, we've never heard that guy right there once mention peace. That's what's insane to me. This war started last February. You're looking at a year and 7 months, and not once has our alleged commander-in-chief said, well, let's get the two to the bargaining table and I'm going to broker a peace deal to say, no, nothing. Peter Schiff is always...
He wants endless war. He doesn't want peace. He doesn't care how many people die.
You see the separation in the Edomites. That's why I say that they shall fight against each other, man. Isaiah 19 and 2, the Egyptian against the Egyptian. Mark 3, 23 through 25. Luke 11 and 27. Luke 11 and 17. You see, so they talk about why Biden ain't no peace. And when you read in Isaiah 48 and 22, the Lord said there is no peace to the wicked. We're just talking about 2/3 of Jake. But this applies to those that's in rulership, man. The elites don't want peace, man. They fund both sides of everything, any war, whatever it is, man. Where they say all wars are banker wars. Yeah, the elites are the top, are the bankers. So they show you how America is divided, man.
There's a lot of innocent, Russians and Ukrainians. I mean, that
Right.
that are dying. That for what?
And our dollar is dying, our economy is dying, all thanks to Joe. Again, all roads lead back to Joe and his regime. Peter Schiff, as always.
Let me get this next one. The economy dying, the dollar is dying. Hey, the Lord is destroying this place, man. Now all we gotta do is remain patient. Pray to Yahweh Shema Shah for more patience, man. And watch this place fall. Now check this out. This is all Edomites. These ain't Jakes. Now the article I used yesterday, Jake talking about Salakia. Jake talking about
this week could go down as one of the most important.
Remember, they used a Jake in the article talking about how the 10 countries, the 10 African country that has the most inflation. Now, here's your boy. Check this out.
This week could go down as one of the most important weeks of the century. Historians will likely look back on this week as a pivotal moment. And this is not hyperbole, guys. The global world order is about to be upended this week in South Africa as the BRICS nations come together for their first global summit since the pandemic. Get ready for everything to change. It won't have movement. And if you're an investor, you need to pay attention to what's about to happen to the US dollar. So Goldman Sachs, you know Goldman Sachs, they believe the economy and the G-Shifts will last. Left over to BRICS Summit officially kicks off in South Africa this week. This is the first face-to-face BRICS Summit since the start of COVID. And we're about to witness a rebalancing of the world order. The agenda items at this summit are massive. Currency, trade, military cooperation, AI, microchips, oil. The list is endless. And the US, by the way, I guess their invitation got lost in the mail. And the British, they didn't get an invitation either. Germany, they're not welcome. Is this game over for Western hegemony? Now, for those of you that don't know, BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Now, it started out as a small collective over a decade ago, and it's become the greatest threat to Western power that we've ever seen. And I'm not talking about military power, which we'll get to in a second. I'm actually talking about economic power, oil power, computing power, trade power, the greatest weapons of all, economic warfare. Top of the agenda is the US dollar, squarely in the crosshairs of these tanks ready to fire. Here's how Foreign Policy magazine headlines the moment. A BRICS currency could shake the dollar's dominance. The D Dollarization moment might finally be here.
Are you sick of having issues with your webinars, wasting tons of time on troubleshooting with it?
Is it true? After all, talk of getting rid of the US dollar as a reserve currency goes back to the 1960s. Here's the New York Times in 1968 talking about France trying to separate itself from the US dollar. French President Charles de Gaulle versus Lyndon Johnson back then. This isn't new at all. But now we are at a tipping point. Brazil's president, Lula da Silva, says that every night he asks himself why all of these countries have to base their trade on the US dollar. Well, now they don't have to. They don't have to ask themselves that question anymore, because a gold-backed currency that stands as the backbone of the new BRICS currency is being rolled out in earnest. Brazil, Russia, China, India, South Africa, trading oil, computer chips, minerals, and then settling those transactions in a reserve currency that has nothing to do with the US dollar. All of the previous meetings of BRICS have been leading up to this moment in South Africa.
BRICS countries are home to more than 3.2 billion people, around 40% of the global population. None of the bloc's members is in the G7, the group of 7 advanced economies. To increase its influence, BRICS is considering bringing new members into the fold.
Just look at trade between BRICS nations. There's a massive financial surplus. the BRICS nations have a trade surplus. Brazil just hit a trade surplus record, if you can imagine that. Why would they want to settle transactions with US dollars? Meanwhile, Europe's trade deficit has hit a new record, nearly $500 billion deficit. So which side would you rather be on? Of course, this isn't happening overnight. There are big impediments, of course, to a BRICS currency. The biggest issue right now is that if Russia wants to import things from other countries that are not named China, they'll likely have to do it in US dollars. But what if more countries join BRICS and ditch the dollar? Then that dollar is not underlying these transactions, and there's safety in numbers. In fact, other countries are noticing and begging to join. At this summit, Russia and China are expected to approve the application of a bunch of new countries into BRICS. Algeria, Bahrain, Egypt, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, just to name a few. They've all submitted requests for membership to the body. And the Turkish government has also expressed an interest in joining this group. But wrap your heads around this, guys, because those first ones I just mentioned, that's small potatoes, because more than 40 countries are now vying to join BRICS.
Turkey got missiles from Russia, man. I did a lesson on that about a year or so ago. Last year. Man, prophecies is being fulfilled, man. Ezekiel 38 is really happening. Isaiah 13 and 19. The raven shall neither pinch tent there. This is happening. They are separating, man. Revelation 17. In Isaiah 13 and 19, the raven shall neither pinch tent there. Revelation 17 and 16. The 10 horns upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, man. This is prophecy, man. This ain't no he say, she say. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. This is prophecy, man. That was written a 4 time ago. And we watching it play out in our times, man.
40.
Samita, what are you hearing about just how much bigger BRICS could get?
Well, we've heard from leadership here at the BRICS, this Foreign Ministers BRICS Summit, that at least 19 countries have expressed either formally or informally interest in either joining the BRICS grouping or even having involvement with the BRICS Development Bank, which really is aimed at investing in the global south, in developing nations to boost their economies. And this is one of the reasons that BRICS is becoming increasingly attractive to developing nations.
BRICS now accounts for 31% of global GDP. And just a few months ago, they overtook the United States and the G7 nations.
Hold on. Let me show you something. Did you see that Edomite? Hold on. Let's back up. Look at him getting off the plane. You see what he got on? The Edomite got money, man. Look what he got on, man. Probably some Wranglers, man. Jake took running around here with Gucci and Prada and Louis and Fendi and all this garbage. Look at Esau getting off this jet, man. You look like a 757, whatever it is. But look, got millions, man.
Developing nations to boost their
probably some Wranglers. Them only like don't leave
economies. And this is one of the reasons that BRICS is becoming increasingly attractive to developing nations.
BRICS now accounts for 31% of global GDP. And just a few months ago, they overtook the United States and the G7 nations for GDP dominance.
Did you know that you could get 50 to over 150?
Goldman Sachs won't have to wait until 2050. It's already happening. And beyond a gold-backed currency and moving away from the US dollar, one of the biggest stories in Africa is holding meetings on AI. BRICS wants to dominate AI. And who will be the leader of this? None other than China. No one will be close. China announced that it wants to become the global leader of AI by the year 2030. And I don't know if you know this at all, but China is a communist country. And when a communist country makes a pledge like this, it's all about the prestige, right? They have to put their best foot forward. So they must make it happen to save face. Surprisingly, this was already well known in Washington. At the Pentagon, a major threat to America, China become the
Hey, Shalom, Tata, Akim, and I walk tuning in. Yeah, Bashim Shot, Barker Thumb. Hey, man, this is the elder brother. You want a thon, I bought out of one. From the GMS Vat also account. Subscribe to the other channel. You got his backup channel is what is it? GMS Troop. Matter of fact, bear with me here. Let me pull it up real quick. Subscribe to the other channel, man. Esau messing with all his channels. Let me see if I can pull it up here real quick. It's GMS Troop of Yahweh. That's the elders channel, man. GMS Troop of Yahweh. Subscribe to the elder channel. Salaki, GMS Troop of Yahweh Shah 2. GMS Troop of Yahweh Shah 2. Subscribe to the elder channel, man. So anyway, I want to finish. I got one more clip after this.
Dominant player in AI. In fact, an Air Force cybersecurity whistleblower warned the Pentagon 2 years ago, said we must make AI a priority or China will crush us. He wasn't really a whistleblower. He was just telling his bosses, hey, here's what's happening. Here's what we are not doing. Here he is. His name is Nicholas Chalin. He warned everyone, and no one listened to him. He saw what was happening. And because no one paid attention, he quit in protest. He quit because he said, what are they doing? It was impossible for the United States to compete with China on AI. And in this article, it quotes him as saying, we have no competing fighting chance against China in 15 to 20 years. Right now, it's already a done deal. It's already over, in my opinion, he said. Chalin went on to say that AI capabilities and cyber defenses of some government departments were at kindergarten level, he said. Kindergarten, which I guess is better than preschool. He recently said China has kids as young as 7 years old starting on learning AI and machine learning. And the United States doesn't stand a chance. That means it's kids in like kindergarten, first grade, basically, learning AI.
Interesting to see that China is not wasting that kind of time and then are waiting for us to figure it out. And they're taking this very seriously, including having their kids starting at 7 years old be trained on AI and machine learning. So when you start paying that kind of investment and really the understanding that whichever country is going to be leading AI and ML will be controlling the planet.
Let me repeat what he just said. Whoever leads in AI will rule the planet. The BRICS nations, getting rid of the US dollar as a reserve currency, build a new trade and military security infrastructure, and dominating AI. Europe and the United States are shaking in their boots right now, and they should be. This week in South Africa is going to be a game changer, and we'll be watching it very, very closely here on this show. So that's the news update part of today's video. Now I want to tell.
Now let me get this last clip. I just got a couple precepts, man. Just as Elder Hawaii say, in the news. This is in the news, man. This is happening in real time, man. What they talking about? Yep. The water for posting that, sister. The water. Subscribe to the Elder channel, man. Edifying lessons all the time. So this is the last one I got. Showing you that they use this Jake, the article I used the other day. Jake talking about they're gonna use this slow-bellied nigga, whether he's a gay, whether he's Jake or not. Talk about how America is dominating. America ain't dominating nothing, man. Check this out. That's why you got to go to. That's why the apostles been telling us for years to go to these alternative news sites, man. America News keep you in America, man. That's failing, is sinking, is collapsing, is corroded. Check this out. I'm just gonna play a little bit of this.
The Kansas.
Oh, Salaki. Hold on. Click the wrong one. Check this out. This is what's going on.
On the Spot with Michelle McCory is brought to you by Prime XBT.
Hello, I'm Michelle McCory. Thanks for joining us. Dethroning the dollar is high on the agenda at the upcoming BRICS Summit. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa are meeting in Johannesburg later this month. And while it's not clear what the status is regarding a BRICS commodity-backed common currency, what is crystal clear is that member countries will continue to push to ditch the dollar and to trade using their own currencies. The bloc is also expected to expand its members, with over 20 countries now officially applying to join the BRICS, including Saudi Arabia, which could have serious consequences for the petrodollar.
Why
and
is
this
that?
comes just
Because Saudi Arabia is America's #1 cash cow. The dollar was formed through Saudi Arabia and America's trading oil, man, and oil being pushed throughout the four corners of the earth with the damn petrodollar, man. This is a blow to Babylon the Great, the West.
as the dollar has taken another hit to its global standing, with a recent downgrade by the Fitch rating agency to drop its AAA credit rating. And all of this is happening as the US dollar has fallen from making up 73% of global reserves in 2001 to 58% today. Well, my next guest has long warned about the move to de-dollarize and says that a global monetary reset is already well underway. But now he's also examining if the push for the US dollar to lose its status as king of reserve currencies, leading to a major monetary reset, may in fact be an intentional and deliberate effort from within. And
of course it is. Yahweh Shema Shah is making this happen, man. They using Yahweh Shema Shah using the elites to make this happen, because this kingdom gotta fall. This is how we get back to the kingdom of heaven, man. This system gotta crash. The micro seal, the mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip, have to play. It gotta be made manifest. It have to be mandatory, man. Let me read this real quick in James. This whole Edomite system is gonna fall, man. And we are watching it fall day by day. James 5:1. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. This is a future prophecy that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasures together for the last days. This gotta happen. Oh, what is that? In what's that verse in what is that in Isaiah? It said they shall cast their gold and silver in the streets. Right? Let's get this in Ezekiel. This is Ezekiel. Let's see here. Ezekiel 7:26, it reads, mischief shall come upon mischief, and rumors shall be upon rumor. Then shall they seek a vision of the prophet, but the law shall perish from the priests, and counsel from the ancients. The king shall mourn, and the priest shall be clothed with desolation, and the hands of the people of the land shall be troubled. I will do unto them after their way, and according to their deserts will I judge them, and they shall know that I am Yahweh. This is the Lord magnifying his name, his power, his glory, man. Listen.
Is the president and owner of Miles Franklin Precious Metals. Andy has 3 decades of experience in the precious metals sector and is a well-regarded expert on monetary history and political economy. And Andy's last video is also one of the most viewed ever on Kitco. Andy, very good to have you with us.
Now he owned precious metals, just like I showed you the first video with Peter Schiff, who owned real gold and silver, man. And he always telling you this place is crumbling. Listen.
Michelle, that's amazing. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Very good to have you back. Now, Andy, you have long warned that we will see a change in the dollar-denominated money order. It's certainly what we discussed in our previous video, but you have been sounding the alarm well before that. So I want to get your thoughts on what you expect from the BRICS meeting. More importantly, where you see things going beyond the end of August, beyond the meeting, and also discuss the idea that the dollar losing its status could be by design from within, and how this fits into the agenda for a CBDC or central bank digital currency, and what this all means for gold and the investment implications here. So a lot to cover. But let's pick up from where we left off. And last time we spoke was January of this year, where you warned that the trend to de-dollarize is accelerating, especially following the sanctions imposed on Russia after its invasion of Ukraine, including banning Moscow from the international SWIFT system and what many have called the weaponization of the dollar. You said that that's going to lead to accelerated de-dollarization. And in fact, much has happened since then, including several countries formalizing bilateral trade agreements not using the dollar. Just for example, China and Brazil, which is South America's biggest economy, they've reached a deal to trade in their own currencies. India has been buying oil in rubles and dirham. And even France completed a natural gas deal with China paid for entirely in yuan. Just some recent examples of that trend. We're also seeing continued record-breaking gold purchases by central banks. So let's pick up with how you've seen this acceleration to de-dollarize since we last spoke, and of course the importance of Saudi Arabia in this whole picture.
Yeah. Now, real quick, this is Ezekiel 7:19. They shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of Yahweh. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity, man. And this was talking about Jake. Well, who is in rulership today? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. And here it is. Matter of fact, let's read this, and I'm going to let a couple minutes of this play. Don't need much of this one. This is Psalms 64. Because these devils did this to us, man. And the Lord said, because they put their hand on the apple of the Lord's eye, man. This is Psalm 64 and verse 2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot at him and fear not, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect, which are the Israelites. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. Right? Verse 7. So they've been shooting at us since they've been in rulership. This is Psalm 64:7. But God shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. So they've been shooting at us for hundreds of years, man. Well, the Lord have shot at them. Now they are what? Making their own tongue to fall upon themselves. Again, the title lesson, Yahweh has wounded them, and they are talking about it, man. This is beautiful.
Yeah, that's all true. Everything you said is true, and it is an acceleration, Michelle. It's a real acceleration, and you know, I think I want to focus first and foremost. Everyone's talking about the meeting August 22nd in Johannesburg, and rightfully so. This is a big deal. The BRICS Alliance and their meeting, talking about expanding, talking about issuing a commodity or a gold-backed currency, as James Rickard has mentioned. Well, these are all very, very, very big deals. And whether or not they issue a gold-backed currency on August 22nd, you know, to me, isn't really the biggest deal. I think ultimately they will. There's no question to me, but that they will issue a commodity-backed currency. But whether it happens August 22nd or somewhere down the road, to me, I guess is really not that big of a deal. And to me, I focus more on this acceleration that you mentioned. Acceleration, this cohesion of countries that have joined together and are exploring joining this ever-growing union of countries trying to, I guess you could say, break free from the Western hegemony. And really how significant it is becoming. A couple of the things that really are that stick out to me since we've last met and since we last talked in January really centers around what Saudi Arabia has been doing. And I think to only focus on the BRICS without focusing on the movements that Saudi Arabia has really done and accelerated is only focusing on half of the story.
Let me read it. Let's read it, shall we? Hey, the Lord is cold. Isaiah 13 and 19, it reads, and Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, of the Edomites' excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. Prophecy, man.
And I look to Saudi Arabia really as kind of being the linchpin of all of the issues surrounding the de-dollarization and
Of
really the
course,
dollar hegemony. And it's been that way.
of course. It was formed, the dollar was formed through oil, man. Trades and oil throughout the four corners of the earth, man. Which these nations, they don't need America anymore. And when you don't need something, what happened to it? It just washes away, man. Right? It just washes away. It blows away, man. If you got something among yourself and your household and it gets old and outdated, what do you do with it? You throw it away, man. It sit there for a while. Cause you like, maybe I might need it later on. But then later on, months, weeks, years, you like, man, I'm just gonna throw. I don't need it no more. That's America, man.
Since 1974, where every country on the planet, Michelle, has had to own dollars in order to buy oil. That was the deal we struck with the Saudi kingdom. And by extension, OPEC, who has really for almost 50 years exclusively about 90% of all the oil sales across the globe have been in dollars. And this has created a synthetic demand for the dollar. It's a big deal. And it really is what, in large part, has given us, or at least to a very large degree, the world reserve status or the petro status. Now, subsequently, we've seen some moves by Saudi Arabia that to me are very alarming. When we last met, we talked about the fact that they had joined the Belt Road Initiative along with all of the other OPEC countries. And that's the largest infrastructure project in human history. Big deal. Right now, that represents almost 75% of human population, about 50% of global GDP. We talked about how they had applied for the BRICS membership, and that's kind of where we left off. Subsequently, they have also applied for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. This is a very, very big deal, and also dovetails into what James Rickles has mentioned about what's going to transpire August 22nd.
And Jim Rickles, he just mentioned. Jim Rickles is another Edomite. I did a lesson on him about some months ago, last year. He said they doing away with the dollar, and you're gonna have to take the micro C-Hill, man. Go look up Jim Rickles, man. He's another Edomite economist, man. Jake talk about the mark of the beast is sin. You slow-bellied niggas. Those that's creating it, telling you what it is and what they're gonna do with it, how they're gonna use it. But you got some dumb niggas telling you that it's sin. You dumbass niggas. Let's play a little bit more.
We'll get to in a moment. But the Shanghai Cooperation Organization is the largest regional military and financial organization in the world.
Hold on. That's all we needed. That. Look what this say. Economic collapse. All banks to fail. Okay? Come on, man. What are they gonna do? And this is called problem, reaction, solution. So don't be no fool, man. Because this is pushing the world, this is conditioning your mind through gradualism to get ready to take the micro C-Hill. Or you're gonna be outside, man. As it in Revelation. When you go to Revelations 13, that word kill, you ain't gonna be able to eat. You ain't gonna be able to You ain't gonna be able to get nothing if you don't take it, man. They are conditioning the world's mind, man. This is a world movement. The new world. Oh, let me get this. Cause this guy, let me pull this up real quick. Cause I ain't listened to him in a minute. Richard Wolff. And I was listening to him today. Which I might do listening tomorrow, Lord willing, because I ain't finished watching the video. But he got Chris Hedges on there. Chris Hedges is one of them Edomites that, hey, he don't kill, man. And this is one I'm watching. It's a economic update. Today's class struggles with Chris Hedges. That's the one I want to watch. But the one I'm mentioning now is titled "The Emerging Economic Update." This and Richard Wolff's channel is Democracy at Work. It's an economic update, the emerging new world economy. Let me put on the screen to show you. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I just want to show you the name. Because this is what's going on, man. This is that enterprise that Esau Edom is trying to bring to pass, but it ain't going to work, man. The scripture say it ain't going to work, man. So this is the title right here. Here's another Edomite I love to listen to. Richard Wolff, Economic Update, the emerging new world economy. And this is what they're trying to do, man. This is what they're trying to do. But it's not going to work. So let me go back to this. I'm going to play a little bit more of this.
It represents about 60% of the Eurasian landmass and 40% of global GDP. It's very significant in and of itself. And with Saudi Arabia joining BRICS, the Belt Road, and now the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, we can see the movement that they are making. We can see what's important to them. We can see how they are pushing away from the Western influence and getting very close with some very, very powerful entities, influential entities that are growing more so by the moment. They also applied for the BRICS New Development Bank. And while in Davos at the meeting, just after you and I last had our interview, they told the world that they would be open to accepting other currencies for oil. Now, when we look at the BRICS phenomenon, it's a big deal. It is. I think it's a huge deal.
The Edomite said the BRICS phenomenon. This is Isaiah Salaki. This is Psalm 21:11. For they intended evil against thee. See, because I read Psalm 64. They've been shooting at us, you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians for so long. The Lord said, what? He's suddenly shooting at them, and now they shall be wounded. And we watching the Edomites that's wounded, talking about their wound from the Lord, but they don't know who's wounding them. All they know is it's the elites, but they ain't gonna never call them out. Nah, when you listen to Richard Wolff and Chris Hedges, they ain't gonna say the names, but they say Chris Hedges got a lesson. It's called the classism, the classism of America. No, he said the classism of the American Empire. Who is the classism? That's talking about the elites in a code, man. They'll never tell you the names because they juiced in. But they telling you we are losing our generational wealth and the elites is taking it back, man. The Lord have wounded these bastards and they are talking about it, man. You got some dumbass nigga talk about Esau is Japhet, man. Ain't no prophecies on Japhet. Or Esau is the Arabs. The Lord gave them their portion. The Lord told Abraham, 12 sons shall come out of thee. And they was going to be what? Wild men. The Lord gave them a portion. Their portion is to have AKs, all type of choppers and oil, man. That's their portion. He wasn't live, but he wasn't gonna live by the sword. We talking about the so-called white man Esau Edom. You see him on the screen. They ain't white. His shirt is white. His face is red, cherry plum, tomato red, man. Pink. You see it. Again, Psalm 21:11. For they intended evil against thee. Against who? You Hebrew Israelites. They imagine a mischievous device which they are not able to perform. What? Their enterprise. Let's get that in Job 5. This is Job chapter 5, verse 12. He disappointed the devices of the crafty. Who? Yahweh, through his only begotten son Yahweh Shai. It say he disappointed the devices of the crafty so that their hands could not perform their enterprise. It ain't going to work. That's why I tell you 2 Corinthians 2:11 that the remnant of Israel is not ignorant of Satan's devices. But this is a conditioning to the world, to the people through gradualism. To prepare yourself, you're using PayPal, right? Do you use Cash App? Are you using Apple Pay? Get ready to just put it in your hand or in your forehead. This is a condition to the world, man. But this is that back and forth to make it seem like, oh man, the Lord is deceiving 2/3 of his own people to take this. We don't give a damn about the heathens. Yahweh Shema Shah don't care about the heathen nations. Psalms 40:15-17. This is to take away the comfort in Isaiah 3:1 from 2/3 of you slow-bellied niggas out there, man. You so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, you West Indians and Haitians, the Lord is deceiving you with craftiness, strategic moves to take away your comfort, you dumb niggas. All of you that scoff past the camp talking about these niggas got dresses on. Okay, we gonna see you dumb niggas.
I think what really is going to make it very big is what James Rickles has told the world, that on August 22nd, he expects the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and the Eurasian Economic Union to join forces with the BRICS. Now, I find this to be interesting because I just spoke at the Rule Symposium, and in preparation for my presentation, I wanted to...
Man, that's all we need on that, man. Let me get this closing precept, man. That's all we need, man. Let me pull this up. Bear with me here. The America is through, man. And everybody see this except 2/3 of our own people, man. The Lord got the Edomites talking about this. This is mainstream news, man. This is mainstream news. Obadiah 1:7. Man, I bring this out so much, man. Competition is the father's skill, man. America, the West is through. Obadiah 1:7. All the men all the men of that confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. Why? Because the Lord gave them a better option. It's still an Edomite option, but joining to the Russia, the BRICS, is a better option. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread. How do they eat America's bread? First off, they got the petrodollar. And most of the goods is being sold here. You heard Peter Schiff said a lot of God's goods is sold from other countries. The same 196 nations that's joined to America, they are leaving. We are watching the Lord's prophecy play out, man. This is exciting. That's why I understand how a slow-bellied nigga talk about GMS make truth look boring. You dumb niggas. You see what's going on? And this is daily. Daily. Again, when you stop using something, what happened to it? What happened to when you stop using something? Like phones. Remember, you had a phone Another phone came out. You upgraded. What did you do with that phone? Don't worry, I'll wait. What did you do with it? The next phone came out. You upgraded. What did you do with the last phone? You don't even know where it's at right now. It's gone. Listen, man. The nations is tired of America. America has been a bully for too damn long, man. And finally, Yahweh Shema Shai raised up a real bully to bully the bullies. And the real bully ain't even a bully. He's of the Lord, man. The Lord raised up a bully that go against the bully that's taken from all the what is called in Joel 3, the ones that was weak, the weak ones. Yeah, the Lord is cold, man. You in the schoolyard, you might be one of them type of guys growing up. You see some nigga, you see some people getting their stuff taken from this one guy every day. Then one day you like, you know what? I hate bullets, me personally. Wish a nigga would. I hate bullets. You see, you that one guy, you see these guys getting their stuff took every day for the last month or two. Then one day you like, you're not trying to get involved in it because the Lord say, mind your own business. Remember not other people's matters, right? Other people's affairs, other people's matters. But then you like, man, this man, and you just happen to be like, hey, check this out, man. Why you doing that? You try to come humbly. Why you doing this? Why you taking now the guy look at you like, cause off the real, if you step to somebody like that, they wondering what type of balls you got to step to me. So if you talking back and forth cause you came humbly, like why you taking like what they doing to you, you just gotta take their stuff. So when the conversation over with and the other guys that get on their stuff took, they see this guy can't take your stuff or he didn't try to take your stuff, and y'all end the conversation, okay, bro, let's whatever. How the conversation ended. Them that was getting their stuff took, look at you, they're gonna say, hey, excuse me, but like, why he didn't take your stuff? They gonna cleave to you, man. The Lord raised up Russia in Ezekiel 38 to be a guard to the fucking West, man. Nobody's scared of America no more because Russia been standing in the paint through all the sanctions, and the guy mentioned it. I did a lesson on it. These economic warfares, when they go in on the country and they put sanctions and tariffs and embargoes, economic warfare is called. Look it up on Google. Economic warfare. This is what America created a law. Psalm 94 and 20. They frame mischief by fucking laws, man. They go in on these countries with embargoes, sanctions, and tariffs through economic warfare, man. Russia been standing in the fucking paint every time. They never back down. What do you think it's gonna do to other nations? That's gonna woo and all them, man. Like, hold on. These niggas ain't backing down from the West. So when you read in Joel 3, when it say the weak, let's read it, bro. Put it on the comment board. Let's read it, man. This is Joel 3 and 9. Kazak Bunya Howder. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Somebody put up Isaiah 14, 9 through 11 for me, Barbara Shaw. Verse 10. Beat your plowshares into swords, which is them turning their farming, their money, everything they using for agriculture, put it into missiles. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Pruning hooks and plowshares are used for farming. Joel 3 and 11, verse 3 and 10. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. How are they strong? Through Russia. Even Turkey bought missiles from Russia. I did a lesson on that last year, man. Joel 3 and 11, assemble yourselves and come. All ye, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. So we are watching the will of the Lord play out, man. Isaiah 14:9, Kazak Bunya Holder. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stir up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It have raised up from their thrones. Who? All the kings of the nations. What do they say? All they shall speak and say to thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? You see, this is what we listen, man. Real time, man. Verse 11, as it reads, thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, that music, that old garbage music, is going down, man. The worms are spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. All their pride, their arrogance. Oh, what's that? Isaiah 24:21. Let me get that. See, again it say, they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. How? Through Yahweh Shema Shai. There is no understanding in him. The Lord put a wound on these bastards, man. I forgot what I was just finna get. I just quoted it. What was I finna get? Isaiah 24:20. These devils, and then this nigga Biden talking about they coming out the Russia's ill-gotten gangs, Russia's oligarchy, ill-gotten gangs. You some proud ass bastards over here in the West. How the hell you gonna tell me you going out the Russia's ill-gotten gangs? How did you get America? Through ill-gotten gangs, rape, robbery, murder, pillage, and plunder, free slave, free labor. What are you talking about? They going out to Russia, oligarchies, ill-gotten gangs. Proud ass bastards, man. This is Isaiah 24:21. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall punish the hosts of the high ones that on high and the kings of the earth upon the earth, because all of them played the harlot with America, man. They played in the harlotries of America. That's why I tell you in 2 Corinthians 15, woe to thee, Asia, they have made thyself like unto Babylon. The next superpower is Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, and the remnant of Israel, the 144,000. Yahweh Shai, King David, and the 144. Ain't nobody that's finna get power. But it's showing you the Lord strategically playing chess with the kings of the earth. Isaiah, was that Proverbs 21:1, man. So anyway, I just wanted to show for all you out there, that don't know what's going on, America is collapsing. It's falling. This place is falling, man. And we are watching it fall slowly. Let's close with this. Isaiah 47:1. You got to understand about prophecy. Matter of fact, in Genesis, let me show you something. If you didn't know, this is Genesis 3:14. And it reads, and Yahweh said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. See, we all known as beasts, but the Lord gave Israel his laws, statutes, commandments, which made us not to be beasts. Upon thy belly shall I go. If you lay down and get on your belly, where you gonna be at? On the bottom. Right now, whoever you is out there, just get on the ground and lay on your belly. Where you gonna be at? Your asses ain't standing up. You're on the bottom. You're on the floor. The dust. You can smell it. You can lick the dust. Upon thy belly shall I go, and dust shall I eat all days of thy life. This ain't the Lord talking to a serpent. He's talking to a nation of people. And dust should I eat all days of thy life. Now, Isaiah 47:1. Come down. Who? and sit in the dust. Who did the Lord tell he was going to be in the dust? This ain't rocket science. Go to Genesis 3 and 14 and read it, man. It's talking about Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Okay? Cave beast, man. Come down and sit in the dust. What dust? O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne. O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Now it said, cursed above all cattle. Proverbs. Well, you might say, okay, it says in the dust. Okay, Genesis 3 and 14 said dust. Okay, Isaiah 47:1 said dust. Well, who is the curse? Proverbs 3 and 33. And it reads, the curse. What, Lord? The curse of Yahweh is in the house of the wicked, but he blessed the habitation of the just. So who is the house of the wicked? You got to go read Malachi 1, verse 3 and 4. You'll find that the so-called white man is the curse of the nations. And let's get it. Isaiah 34 and 5. The Lord, I got to get this too. This Isaiah 34 and 5, it reads, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Earth is a heaven, it's a rulership. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea. If you go look up Idumea, this is the word for Edom, the Edomites, the so-called white nation. And upon the people, what, Lord? And upon the people of my cursed judgment. So who did the Lord curse in Genesis 3 and 14? The Idumeans. Now I was thinking about in Job, right? We read in Job 30. Let's read this. It's Job 30 and 1. And then I'm gonna get Malachi 1. Let me put it in so I won't forget. Now, when you read in Job, he tell that the Edomites was chased into the caves. Let's read it. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I will have disdain to have set with the dogs of my flock. So Job said he wouldn't even see the Edomites around his dogs. You know they're gonna do, they'll eat the dog, they'll neuter the dog, or they'll sleep with the dog. That's why his bestiality laws is legal. Yeah, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom of old age were perished. For want and famine, they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness. What wilderness? In Europe, that bottomless pit, that low land, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste. That's Europe. It's a bottomless pit. Who cut up mallows by the bushes. They love to sit around the fire, eat s'mores. We know the so-called white man love to eat s'mores, sit around the campfire. Who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper root for their meat. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. Go read Revelation 20, 1 through 3, and you'll find out they were driven into the caves. Okay? The Caucasus Mountains, Europe, Petra, man. Over there between Georgia and Russia, man. To dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in caves of the earth, and in the rocks. What rocks? The rocks of Petra, the red rocks of Petra. Edom. Among the bushes they braided, sounding like horses, donkeys, and mules. On the nettles they were gathered together. They were children of fools, children of base men. They were viler than the earth. Now, in Malachi 1, we're making the point at Camp Saturday. When it said we driven them forth from among men, right, to dwell in the caves, right? So when you read Malachi 1 and 3, and I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. See, this wilderness is the same wilderness in Job 30. Huh? Let's go back. Job 30, it said, for want and famine, they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste. They're Europe. So again in Malachi 1 and 3, and I hated Esau and lay his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. This is talking about today, America, Babylon the Great. Whereas Edom said, we are impoverished. Why would they say this? Because they was driven forth from among men in Job 30 to dwell in the well, in the cliffs of the valleys, in the caves of the earth. But we will return and build the desolate places, which they did in the 1300s. That's why we got cities all over America right now. Cities all over Canada, cities all over France, Belgium, Denmark, Ireland, England, Scotland, Wales, the Edomites. But we will return and build the desolate places. See, this is talking about them personally, man. So the kingdom is falling, and their own people who's not getting generational wealth and right privilege anymore. Clayton might be getting a little bag. Richard Wolf, Peter Schiff getting a bag. They all getting bags. But that generational wealth and white privilege that they had back in the 30s and the 20s and the 1800s is gone. Why? Because the Oppenheimers and the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and the DuPonts and the Gettys and the Waltons, they have taken it back. So what does that mean? When the Lord said in Isaiah 3:1, he's going to take the comfort from Jake, the elites is taking the comfort from their own people too, man. That's cold. The Lord say, the stay in the stale, the whole stale bread, and the whole stale water. He's taking it back from 2/3 of Jake. Well, guess what? The elites is taking back generational wealth and white privilege from the common so-called white man. That's cold. Can't make this up. I might gotta do a lesson on that tomorrow. the Lord is taking the comfort from Jake as the elites are taking the comfort from their own people, man. Can't make this up. Hey, Lord was edifying. Gotta give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rikah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the bishops and elders, a great millstone who well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders of all of Israel, ready to accept it or not. In a sincere salutation to all the occupant pushing this truth and believing this truth to the four winds of the earth, the entire world, shedding light to the hope for the elect. Shalom to the walk through all this and learning. If you sisters all this and learning, the opportunity in. May Yahweh Shemon shall continue blessing your houses. Stay prayed up. May the blessing of election be upon your houses. So next time I say Shalom, Wa, Ba. Yup. What the day is? Today Tuesday. Oh yeah. Con. Lord A Shabbat Shalom. What was it, Monday to Tuesday? Yup. Con, the new one coming in. Okay. Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Wa, Ba.